welcome him to invite all of us with open arms.
Good evening, everyone. With the immense joy, I extend a warm welcome to you to this momentous occasion, Alumni Career Talk series organized by the Marian Alumni Association, Kuttikanam. Today, we are honored to have a distinguished alumnus among us, Mr. Juby Chandy, the whole-time director and CFO of GSK India. I am eagerly anticipating the valuable insights he will share and would like to express a sincere gratitude for his presence here today. Welcome, sir. A special welcome is also extended to Mr. Nelson Joseph, the president of Marian Alumni Association, and Mr. Twinkle Abraham, the director of the Career and Professional Development Wing. Their leadership and dedication have played an important role in bringing all of us together for this event today. Next, I extend a warm welcome to Professor Dr. Ajimon, sir, the principal of Marian College, Kuttikanam, Father Dr. Roy Abraham, PH, Dr. Joshi sir, head of the BBA department, faculty members of the college, alumni governing board members, alumni and students. Once again, I extend a warm welcome to each one of you to this enriching career talk. I am confident that Mr. Juby Chandy sharing his experience and perspective will be a valuable learning for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your warming welcome speech. I take immense pleasure in welcoming you to this session as well. Now, we will have a brief introduction for the Alumni Career Talk series by Mr. Twinkle Abraham, Director of Career Development Wing. Let's welcome him.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It is with great pleasure that I introduce to you the Marian Alumni Career Talk series. This event serves as a bridge between the past and the present, connecting the experiences of our esteemed alumni with the aspirations of our current students. This is an opportunity to gain valuable insights, learn from real-world experiences, and perhaps find inspiration for your own journey ahead. Today, we are honored to start the Alumni Career Talk series by one of our esteemed alumni, Mr. Juby Chandy. Whether you are a student preparing for graduation or a professional navigating the complexities of a chosen field, there is something for everyone in today's discussions. I'm sure his career journey is a testament to the transformative power of education. We are grateful for his presence today. Yes, Marian Alumni, it's a bond that extends beyond graduation and creates a network of support that lasts a lifetime. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your introduction about the Career Talk series. Moving on to the moments of recognition. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Nelson Joseph, President of Marian Alumni Association, as he steps up for felicitation.
Thank you. So good evening all, dear Marianites. So today is another landmark day for Marian Alumni Association. Our career wing is starting another program, a mega program, Alumni Career Series, top series. We know our career wing activity started very recently only, but they are now proved unstoppable with the kind of initiatives consistently they're doing or coming up with. Career wing is one area of Alumni Association which connects and integrates with alumni, students, teachers, college and industry at the same time, and it's happening fantastically well in our college, in our Alumni Association. I take this opportunity to congratulate the captain of the career wing, Twinkle Abraham, and also his entire career vibrant team of career wing area. The star of the day is our proud alumnus Juby Chandy. I'm so happy that and feel privileged that we got him as a speaker for this inaugural session. During our last Marian Diaries 2022, we expected his physical presence in the campus, and we already prepared an award for him also. But unfortunately, due to his busy, tight schedule, he could not join that time. Maybe we are expecting his presence for the next Marian Diaries. For the benefit of Juby Chandy and all who are present here, I take the privilege of announcing our next Marian Diaries, which will be happening in August 2024. More details will be shared soon, but I hope Juby Chandy will note that month and year so we can physically meet and listen to him in our campus next year. So looking forward to have a great learning experience today. Wishing you all a very insightful evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the felicitation. As we are moving on to the main talk session, let me welcome Mr. Joshi John, Head of Business Administration, to welcome our amazing chief guest for today.
Very good evening to one and all. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Dear most Juby Chandy, most illustrious alumnus, who is the first speaker of the Alumni Career Talk series, which is starting off today. Office bearers of Marine Alumni Association, Kutikanam, Mr. Justin, Mr. Tingul Abraham, and of course, Advocate Nelson Joseph, who is the president of Marine Alumni Association, Sri Abu Surendran, dear most alumni who have joined, dear faculty colleagues, and my dear students. It is with great pleasure and pride I have joined you today to introduce a distinguished alumnus of Marine College, Kutika, Sri Juby Chandy, BBA 1995-98. That's the first batch, who is in fact senior to me in the campus because I joined Marian campus as a faculty in 1996. And that time, Juby was doing his third semester of BBD. From day one to the day he left the campus, I will say he was a beacon of inspiration for both his fellow Marinates and for the faculty also. You may wonder why I emphasize this statement so strongly. The reason is straightforward and evident. He served as an exemplary figure for everyone on campus, illustrating how to maintain an unwavering focus on your goals. To underline that statement, how to maintain an unwavering focus on your goals, even in the face of challenging environment. Why? Because at that time, our campus, as many of our alumni are aware, lacked the superior infrastructure that the present day students enjoy. I recall Juby and his classmates residing in a makeshift hostel facility approximately 3 kilometers away from Pyramid Junction, not from Kutikana Junction, but from Pyramid Junction, diligently walking the distance daily and taking a bus to reach Kutikana, fighting the very poor weather of that time. I firmly believe that such challenging conditions, coupled with the knowledge and values instilled at Marian, has played a pivotal role in Juby's journey to success. So now I have come to a point where I would be traveling through the journey Juby Chandy has made since he left Marian campus in 1990. 25 years of his career. So I mentioned that he was an unwavering kind of, example for unwavering focus on your goals. So he had a goal that time to qualify the chartered accountancy examination. So inside 4 years, in 2002, he qualified as a chartered accountant. And the same year itself, he started his career as a chartered accountant with Rivoli Group in Dubai, and later moved to Philip Morris, where he held various senior leadership roles. Later in 2007, that was first time he was hired by GSK, GlaxoSmithKline, as their commercial financial manager in Dubai. Subsequently, he held a number of leadership positions with increasing responsibilities across various geographies, including finance director of GSK's Middle East business based in Turkey, finance director for GSK Vietnam, finance planning director for emerging markets, area finance director for Southeast Asia, and most recently, head of finance for global general medicines portfolio, partnering with the leadership team on strategy, profit maximization, and helping to drive performance for general medicine. We all know that GlaxoSmithKline is a giant, is a huge brand, a huge conglomerate which has got roots in across the globe, roots across the globe. So it makes us really proud, the entire Marine family really proud to find that the roles played by Juby Chandy has helped this brand gain more equity in its segment. So recently, as a recognition of his leadership and business acumen, in April 2022, Juby was entrusted with the responsibility of heading the finance of GSK India as the CFO. The Indian entity of GlaxoSmithKline is a listed entity having a turnover close to 33 billion Indian rupees with an earnings before interest, tax and amortization of approximately 8 billion Indian rupees. So Juby Chandy is a key figure at GSK India right now as the Chief Financial Officer and all-time director. So as a faculty member who helped, I believe I've helped Juby Chandy in a small way, okay, to instill values as well as the knowledge base. I'm really happy to see that Juby is starting off a wonderful venture initiated by Marine Alumni Association Kutikana, that is the Alumni Career Series. So ever since Marine Alumni Association has formed, they are into diverse kind of such impactful activities. So really happy to see that. So on behalf of Marine College Kutikana and Juby's parent department, it's my pleasure to extend a very warm welcome to Juby once again. And of course, for everyone who have joined this particular meeting, I understand that this is a great opportunity for each one of you to gain greater insights in the world of business, corporate finance, corporate governance, strategy, and what more. So make use of this opportunity, listen to him, and of course, interact with him on anything related to career, anything related to business, finance, whatever topic. I believe everything under the sun. So welcome Juby Chandy once again. There is no point in further delaying this session. Over to Juby Chandy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your
Joshi sir.
Thank you, sir, for your crisp introduction of a chief guest. At this moment, I would like to give a note to everyone. You can all note down your queries during the session, and you can either comment it in the chat box or later unmute yourself and ask the question later during the question and answer session. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for, the Career Talk. For the first episode of Career Talk series, we are fortunate to have Mr. Juby Chandy, whole-time director and chief financial officer of GlaxoSmithKline India. He is one of our most successful alumni from the Department of BBA as well as from our college. Let's welcome him with enthusiasm and anticipation as he is about to share his valuable experience and journey in the corporate field, which will be a guiding light for us in our career. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Joshi sir, for that wonderful introduction. I know he has done a lot of work researching about me in the internet. It looks like he has spent at least hours in researching about me. It's my pleasure and privilege to be part of this group. What more I can do to the college after spending almost 2-3 years in the college, now working in the industry for almost the last 2 decades, coming back to the college and adding value to the alumni as well as to the students. So I see a lot of passion, a lot of energy in the alumni group. As well, I know the team, MAC team, is working really hard to make this community lively. So at the first outset, I would like to congratulate each one of you who is making this event happen. As well as I thank all of you to inviting me for this session. Now, Tinkle and Abu has discussed with me to share some journey about my career, some of my experience in the industry for the last 20 years, as well as has been briefed me that this is a group which has got a lot of students as well as a lot of alumni who will be meeting today. But before I get into my career, just to give you a flavor of what exactly I do in GSK in the recent role as the CFO of GSK in India. GSK is a multinational pharmaceutical company operating in India. It's a listed company in India, as you might be following stock exchanges. Listed companies has got a board of directors, particularly having independent directors who are leading the company. I'm part of the board. It's a $3 billion market cap company with $500 million sales and 4,000 people working in the country with wide footprint across the country. Pharmaceutical market is one of the biggest market in the country. And some of the GSK products are number 1 and number 2 in terms of prescription-based the doctors use for the patients, which means at GSK, we are touching the lives of hundreds and millions of people in the country. Now, clearly, CFO role is a management role. It entails lots of responsibilities. It as well needs certain skill sets which you would have developed throughout the career, which helps me to do the job. The reason I was saying that is as I take you through my career journey, it might be relevant for me to reflect some of those things, how I have learned through the career. What's really relevant to get to the ranks of the company? How do you navigate your career in a difficult corporate environment? And as well, what are some of the things you can get it right early in your career so that you don't miss the boat on getting a good career throughout your journey. So like Joshi sir has mentioned, I've graduated in 1998, which is almost 23 years back, right? So those times, as the first batch of the college, I was not very sure what do I do after my graduation. But one thing I was sure, I should do something that's really meaningful, that's really difficult, and I really want to differentiate myself versus the students or rest of the community who is graduating out in the country. So many a times people ask me, grades matter. Do grades matter? Do ranks matter? What does it mean by being, first rank in the college? It might be a bit of an hypocrisy for me to say grades doesn't matter, right? So I think it matters at least in the early stage of your career. Now, how does it matter? Let me give you a snippet of what happened in my life. So once I finished my graduation, I thought of doing what do I do after this? Okay, I was pretty sure that's not the time for me to take up an employment. I need to do something, some difficult course which takes me places. So I inquired about CA to many people. So there was no one in my class was going for CA. So everyone discouraged me. So one thing that I got confidence, to go for the chartered accountancy those times was the good fundamentals, the basics I got from Meridian College. I should say that the teaching, the basics of accounting, the basics of management, the basics of those learning, what I got there, it gave me immense confidence to take a course which has a success rate of north of 7% those times. So every 100 people who get into the course, perhaps 7 or 8 people come out successfully, and that too timely manner. So I took that risk. That's partly because of these grades or the course or the fundamentals I got in the college. Now, why is it relevant? If you think about a country like India, around 75 lakh graduates comes out of the college every year in the country. Of that 75 lakhs of graduates, around 15 lakhs engineers and 100,000 doctors comes out in the country. So it's a crowded marketplace if you think about the employment market in the country. So how do you differentiate yourself, right? So that's a question perhaps those times I had in my mind. And even now, the same thing is very relevant. How do you differentiate yourself in your career, particularly early stage in your career? And on that context, I think the grade mattered for me. It helps me to take that decision or decisive statement to go into CA. And I started my CA journey. Good or not, I finished the CA in a minimal time that is required. And I was so excited about my CA, right? So CA teaches you many things. One is technical knowledge, obviously, because it's a tough course. But more than technical knowledge, it teaches you many other things which helps you in your career. One is how do you prioritize your work? How do you focus things? Because when you do your chartered accountancy, you have hundreds of things to learn, and it's no way you can complete everything and come out fully knowledgeable or score 100% marks in these things. So so you really need to prioritize things and move on. And I think that skill set I developed during my chartered accountancy helped me throughout my career. Now, what happened after my chartered accountancy? That's where my professional career started. I applied for many companies. I got a lot of offers. Now, what I did there is I chosen a company, which is a local company, which is the first job I had, which had a fancy title, which had a rewarding compensation. Obviously, everything turned in place. You have a good title, you have good role, you have good compensation. So obviously, that's the obvious choice to take. And I joined there, but sooner I realized that the runway for me to grow in that company was very, very limited. The things what I learned perhaps fits only in that sector. So I decided to make a move to some other company, and that's where I joined Philip Morris. Now, Philip Morris, when I joined, Philip Morris, for those who do not know, it's a Marlboro cigarettes company. It's a US multinational. And I joined there as a base financial analyst, means it's one of the junior most role in finance. And I think that's one of the wonderful decisions I've done in my career. Why I say it's wonderful? Because when you join a company which has endured over many years, which has many processes, which has a perfect SOPs, like standard operating practice, which knows how to navigate business, which knows how to operate in different environments, different geographies. You as a person, when you join, you learn a lot of things. You learn the nuts and bolts of managing the business. Not only that, you learn the nuts and bolts of compliance, risk management. How do you drive a business in a sustainable way, right? So all those fundamentals I got to learn in Philip Morris. Now, I think that might be my first advice or guidance to the students who are attending here. When you pass out of your degree, when you pass out from your graduation, whether it is a master's or graduation, if you decide to take up employment, I guess the first step you need to take is join a company which is a Fortune 500 company, or join a company which has endured over many years, and that will help you to teach many things on the fly, right? So the SOPs, the process, the communication, the soft skills you have to have in a corporate environment. So all those things, perhaps the best way to learn is join in a good company. Now, the second thing which happened in this particular assignment when I was in Philip Morris was, when you work in a good company, you work with a bunch of good people. Okay, and that is something which is priceless, because you need to have proper mentors early on in your career, and that mentors will drive you to take the right decisions, throughout your career. So I got some very good leaders or good managers in Philip Morris. Now, little did I know they were mentors. I never call them mentors, or I don't speak to them as mentors, but I knew these are the people I can approach anytime. These are the people who can give me that sounding board when you need that kind of second opinion in your career. And that's something really important as you navigate your career, either through the early stage of your career or throughout the mid stage of your career. I think that's absolutely important. So I spent around 4.5 years in Philip Morris. What I got out of that, I mean, there are a lot of outputs out of that, but I would like to focus on the inputs. I got into the right company. I got into working with a bunch of nice people. I got some good mentors there. And more importantly, I got to start building my soft skills, which perhaps I'll articulate a bit later in my talk. So spending 4.5 years in Philip Morris, I decided to move to a bit more senior role, which was in GlaxoSmithKline. It's a journey now I'm continuing for the last 16 years. The last 16 years I spent in several countries. I started in Dubai, in GSK, GlaxoSmithKline. Then I moved to Turkey. I lived in Istanbul for 2-3 years. Then I moved to Vietnam as finance director. Vietnam, again, is a fascinating place. It's got a lot of similarity with India, but again, the scheme in which you work is very different. The complexity is very different. It's a manufacturing hub, as you might be knowing. I spent some time in Vietnam, then I moved to Singapore to lead Asia finance. So I was managing the entire Asia, Southeast Asia business of GSK from Singapore. I spent 3-4 years there, and now I'm in India. So one clear line of sight when I say this, you can see that I've taken many opportunities. I have gone out of my comfort zone. These are some of the countries which typically you don't hear people going and working easily. So I've gone clearly out of my comfort zone. And when you do that, you get more opportunities. And when you do that, you get more opportunity to grow also. So yeah, so all this 15 years, it's always been a change. Every 2 years or 2.5 years, I change my job within the company. I get to work with new stakeholders. I get to work with new environment. I get to work with new line managers. I get to work with new complex environment. So change always brings, it always build your muscle around how to manage business. And during this fly, I have also built my soft skills. Now, if you ask me in a corporate career, what are 2 or 3 things very important? Okay, so whether it is a finance career, whether it is a technical software career, the baseline is your technical knowledge. Okay, so it's nothing great to say that I'm technically good. That's a baseline. That's a baseline expectation in any career. So when I recruit my team, I got a team of 40 passionate working here in India. More of the time we spend to see how the behavioral skills or the skill sets are the skill sets up to the mark? Are they culturally adaptable in a country? And what do they stand for as a person? And how have they evolved beyond the technical knowledge over the years? So 2 or 3 things. There are many things, many technical knowledge, many soft skills I can flag, but maybe I'll speak about 2 or 3 soft skills that are really important in a corporate career. One is communication. As cliche as it sounds, it's the most important skill in a corporate career. Why it's most important? Because you always have lots of complex problems. Now, how do you communicate that complex problems in a simple way? How do you articulate the things? How do you simply find a solution to those things? I think that requires a lot of training. That requires a lot of conscious learning throughout the job. That also requires some level of formal training in the college also. So I think that's very important. So communication is something I think most of our students or most of our alumni perhaps good to reflect on. Is there any area that they should be developing? I'm passionate about people who are good leaders, and I'm passionate about learning from them on how to communicate better. In GSK, we have many training methods on how to improve upon your communication. And there are simple processes to complex methods, right? So as you are into your student life or in your midlife, alumni life in working in different companies, I highly encourage you to focus on a communication, because that's one skill which is non-negotiable in any corporate job. The second most important thing is how do you manage people, especially when you lead a large team, especially when you move faster, especially when you have complex environment. The single most important thing is how do you lead people? How do you develop your skills around managing people? How do you guide people and building a team which is going to be a legacy in any country you work or in a company you work? So I'm passionate about developing people, and this is something again I have learned throughout my career, that a good team, a good people skills, or a good development all around development for the people, that set the tone for a good environment in a company and a good culture in a company. So yeah, so the second thing is managing people and developing people and building a strong team around you so that you can work effectively and drive value in any company you work. And the third thing again is strategic thinking. So I know in colleges, especially in India, we learn a subject called organizational development. So most of the times we think, even for chartered accountancy, we do something of that sort. But most of the time what we do is we tend to by heart most of the things, or we tend to mug up some of those principles and attempt the exam and get out of the exam in some flying colors, right? So, but again, when I realized when I started working in corporate life, organizational development or which has got many levers, and one of those is strategic thinking. And how do you build your muscle around strategic thinking? And how do you add value to your company by thinking strategically, by finding solutions strategically, and having a long-term vision for the company. And these are some of the fundamentals you need to get it right in a corporate job. So I don't want to have a long monologue conversation, but just to summarize what I'm trying to say is a good career is not going to be a rocket science. It's going to be very simple. Some of the things you might have to get it right early on in your career. One is, how do you differentiate yourself? That differentiation can be with good grades, that can be with some skill sets you develop, that can be with your passion, that can be with some of the projects you do. So clearly you need to differentiate yourself early on in your career. The second most important thing is you need to start work with early on in your formative years, work with some good leaders and good company. And never underestimate the importance of working with a good leader, because such leaders cast a long shadow in your career. So working with good people is the second thing. And the basic thing you need to get there is to work for a Fortune 500 company or a good company. Then constantly and aggressively try to build the soft skills, primarily communication skills, management skills, people management skills, and more importantly, strategic thinking skills. So with that, let me take a pause. I'm more than happy to have a conversation, which is what I like. And perhaps I hand over to Abu. Maybe you can take it from there, Abu, to have some questions and have a conversation here.
Thank you, Juby, for this insightful session. And I would like to personally thank you for this. I had the privilege of associating with Juby on various occasions. I was his immediate junior. We also spent a lot of time in UAE together. We used to stay in the same building, and he was also one of the most active alumni association members who also participated in building this association in UAE. He was also a past president of the UAE Alumni Association. So just listening to Juby, he was stressing the importance of having a mentor in your life, coming out of your comfort zone, communicating effectively. So these are the building blocks of any career that is successful. So with the same note, I would like to encourage everyone in this call to please come out of the comfort zone. Please ask questions here. Juby will be there to clarify, because he is not only a finance person, he is also part of a leadership team. I have gone through the list of directors of Glaxo. I could see that he is probably the youngest person in the management committee of Glaxo in India. It is also a forum where you can ask him questions about how the stock exchanges work, how the fund houses in the country work. So this is not only something to do with finance, this is also something to do with personal finance, if you have questions on that, or general management or strategic management. So please, you can, if you don't want to come online and ask questions, please write down your questions in the general chat. Also, if you can raise your hands, we'll be able to unmute you and you can ask questions online. So the forum is open to everyone. Please come out of the comfort zone and please communicate. Thank you.
Thanks, Sabu. Again to highlight, like you said, I'm part of the board, and the average age of an Indian board is roughly 60 plus, and GSK board is a very reputed board. We have chairman of HDFC, we have independent directors from Infosys and many other companies in the board. And I'm the youngest one in the board, and it is obviously a stretch. Like you said, it's always getting out of the comfort zone and getting into these roles, and it's not difficult, but throughout the career, once you build that kind of a mindset that you're going to learn on the fly, and the people are going to support you in the journey, always having a mentor and always ask the right questions, I think you'll be there actually. Let's open for questions, Abu.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah,
Sir,
Gayatri, go ahead.
yes, sir. Sir, my question here is I had already doubt and that is already cleared by him also. Thank you, sir, for that. And now my question here is that at what part of your life that you understand that you should build a business profession, and how did you build that foundation? And also as a budding entrepreneurs for the BBA students and all, what advices are you having to give them?
It's a good question, actually. So I think towards the mid stage of my career, towards 3-4 years, I realized, uh, again, in a career, you have to decide towards 3-4 years after your career, you need to be a specialist or you need to be a generalist. So in my case, I really didn't want it to be a specialist. What do we mean by a specialist? For example, in finance, a specialist is a tax consultant. In software industry, it could be a software coder. So there might be fantastic software coding people who continues a long time of the tenure doing something of that sort. So I think if you're a specialist, that's a different route. If you're a generalist, you need to get into a lot of wider knowledge learning, particularly the soft skills. Now, the processes are important because to maintain, to build an enduring, long-standing business, you need to have robust processes in any company. Now, you have many examples to that extent. For example, you all know there is a recent edutech startup which is facing a lot of financial crunches. Brilliant promoters, right? So Byju's, I'm talking about brilliant promoters, brilliant idea. Brilliant scale, investors were very good, but the promoter is also brilliant. But if you don't have the process, it won't be sustainable, right? So now, at what stage you need to have processes in a startup company? Early on, early stage itself, you need to have some basic processes in a startup company. And that's why I said in the early stage of your career, if you get into a good company, you really don't have to reinvent the wheel by understanding what are the processes in a business. You can just really learn while you're working, learning from the company what processes they follow, how do they react to the different problems, how do they kind of approach the capital allocation, how do they manage the funding, how do they manage the cash flow, how do they hire people, what is the mix in the P&L? For example, a company which has got, let's say, $100 million sales, what is the maximum guardrail you can put on advertisement and promotion? What's the guardrails you can put on, let's say, selling field, all those kind of things, right? So the basic guardrails, the basic mix of financial management, the capital allocation, the capex decisions, the processes in which a company work, all those things you will get in the first 2-3 years when you work in a good company. So for those guys, I think your question is more on when do I learn the process? Early in my first role or second role, I started thinking about the process. I started learning about the process. And I was more than excited about these processes, how companies make sustainable progresses and processes in the rhythm and system. Now, startup companies getting into the business, I think 1 or 2 years spending in a company is not a waste. It's you have a long runway to run your business, start a company. I work with a lot of startups, healthcare startups here in Mumbai. I can clearly see people who come from industry, who has some brand management experience, some marketing experience, and financing experience. They have much more clear thought process on how to manage a company. So yeah, so I think learning process is important. Putting those processes in a company, if you're starting a company, if you're an entrepreneur, that's all the more important, because that only takes you to a sustainable way of managing a business.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes.
Sajan, go ahead. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Sajan. I am pursuing MCA. I have, in fact, 2 questions. I will go with the first one. As you can see, this is time of artificial intelligence and the job area, industry, and everything is changing. How we should be prepared to meet the changing demands? how we should adapt with the changing demands, and what all changes do you perceive in the general industry, general market, while we become a career job candidate?
Yeah, I think it's again a fantastic question because last month I was attending an artificial intelligence session hosted by Microsoft, and some of the things which are coming out of Microsoft, particularly the Copilot artificial intelligence, more than the chat, the Copilot thing. It's really interesting, particularly for the corporate world, right? So I think here there are two things in artificial intelligence. One is this generative AI, the whole process happening. Second is the ecosystem, the machine learning processes, which is happening in the background. Now, for how do we approach this? I think this is going to be a game changer. Companies are trying to get into, whether it is a marketing, whether it is in finance, they are trying to embrace all these technologies. And even here in GSK, our marketing is trying to get into omni-channel way of marketing, where you try to use artificial intelligence to see how customer reacts to your advertisements or to the promotions, and when do customer reacts to the promotions and advertisements, and have a complete end-to-end surveillance of the touch points through artificial intelligence. So it's a very complicated topic. There is no one fit solution to approach it. What we could do is embrace the journey, because this is going to be a journey. This is not going to be a kind of a short run. It's going to be a long journey. Companies will evolve. The workspaces will evolve. Education sector particularly is evolving. Finance is evolving. We have many of our systems getting automated in much more faster than what we thought of. So the only thing we can do is upskill ourselves, keeping ourselves as generalists. I know people working with core technical skills in many other spaces. So keeping ourselves as generalists, upskill our knowledge. As the wave starts coming, go ahead of the wave. Learn those skill sets. What makes artificial intelligence? If you're a technical person, how does the backend works, and what do you able to do that in terms of your day-to-day life? If you are a receiver of artificial intelligence like us, how do you adapt and embrace this journey? How do you quickly adapt this artificial intelligence and similar technological changes into a business and go with it? There is no way we can stay away from it. So it's absolutely important we go with it and learn on the things. So continuing education, whether it is in technical skills or whether it is in this new arena, I think this is something which everyone has to keep in mind, and we need to spend significant amount of time having this continuous education. And institutes like Chartered Accountancy, they even started point system, like you need to attend minimum X number of hours for continuing education, and that is recorded, which has got wide variety of topics being discussed. But other non-structured professionals, where it's not guided by a ethics body or an institute, they need to continue to evolve through this journey, continue to invest in the education and learn and embrace this change. That's the only way we can get ahead of this curve.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. That was a great insight. May I go with the second question, if that's fine?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you, sir. In fact, you have shared a great insight. Now, my second question is, sir, when you get into the real job, what difference or what gap do you find between the education system and the demands of the real job?
Yeah, I think it's really different, I would say, because I hear that tech companies, particularly Infosys and TCS, they hire people, then they honor their offer letters, then they put them on long training, to suit their requirements. Now, in other professions, it's a little bit different. People are put through a long journey on their career. I mean, people will be promoted very slowly. They will be losing a lot of years learning some of the things which are relevant for the company or the corporate world. Now, we need to be mindful that education system is designed for 1 million or 2 million people to study the same course at a go, right? So now it may be very difficult to keep it too customized, and it will be very difficult to keep it so hard or so light in that format. So education system obviously has its challenges, but with this technology era, nothing stops us from going an extra mile and learning something that's really relevant, which you're passionate about. So I see these days school kids who are learning. Let's say they do chemistry, economics, accounting, then psychology and this and that. So there is no combination these days education has, particularly for graduation. Once they finish their school, they go for graduation. The combinations are very different in foreign countries, particularly. So I think we can say that the education system is perhaps not perfect, but I think there's no point in keep on complaining about that, or we wait for the education system to change for us to change, right? So we always have an option these days, particularly with all these advent of technologies and edutech sectors coming in. We can take our own course, we can take our own fashion, so we can do it in our own pace. So so I think the answer to that is it's up to us to own our development. It's not the education system that's going to help us to teach all the things what we want to. So yeah, absolutely. I think if the education system has got its gaps, but that's not going to be a showstopper for us to to get to the extra mile and learn what we are passionate about or what we want to do, and that's something we need to keep in mind. Whether it's early in your career or mid stage of your career or even fag end of your career, you can always go and learn something.
We have Nathan Tijin who raised his hand. Tijin.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, hi. Hi, Juby. How are you? Juby, I just, the question is like, see, when you interview a person, let's say you see the CV, the person is jumping, let's say in a year or two, very, very fast into different industries or different companies. When you write an offer, what do you think about it? And the subsequent question for that is like, normally the C-class employees you had seen, they normally jump within a year or two from a company. Exception is maybe you and Abu. But what is your opinion on that as well?
So I tell you, actually, when I interview a lot of people, not only for finance but also for other functions also. So what do I look, if I had to think, is one is the attitude. Okay, one is the attitude, definitely the attitude of the candidate. Second is the skills they have, and third is the knowledge. So in any typical interview, if you look around, a structured interview, if you look around, the questions might be coming around attitude, skills, and knowledge. Now, if I have to look at CV, particular CV who has jumped many times, 10 different roles on a short span of time, either the candidate might be unsettled for different reasons. Either the company is not good, or the candidate, he or she might not be sure of what to be done or how to be shaping the career. Or there could be some reason. There is no generic way to look at it, but obviously try to understand the candidate. The first thing that comes to an interviewer mind is, will the person will be staying there after training for some time, right? So I have experience taking such candidates, developing such candidates, and they're staying back in the company, because people at the end of the day, they change for, in my experience, two things. One is they don't like the manager, not the company, the manager, or they want more money. Now, the question is, are you rightly compensating a person? And are you squeezing something out of the person beyond what is supposed to be done, right? So here, I think a good culture, a good manager, a good compensation, typically people tend to stay back, provided you're giving a lot of growth opportunities in that ecosystem, right? So yeah, so I think it's a red flag, but definitely need to understand more why that kind of a shift happening. It could be for different reasons. It could be for it could as well be a very ambitious person not finding the right place on settling down on his or her career. So if it's the right ambitious person who has got a lot of skills and knowledge, why not take the person into the space and train the person further? That's a good strategy even to do. But definitely check out for attitude, skills, and knowledge, and that is one place we can nail down how to approach the situation.
Okay, thank you.
Juby, just one question from my side. Since you talked about upskilling, since we also have a lot of BBA third year students here, and also MBA pass outs, or maybe going to pass out in the next 1 year. What would be your advice to them in terms of upskilling? Where do you think these new graduates are lacking in terms of skill set?
Yeah, I think, Abu, if you remember during the times when we were in the college, the good thing is it was a close-knit community. We had a lot of interactions. It was, we could do something, but one thing we missed perhaps is having a little bit more futuristic education, which what do I mean by that is having some discussion around a case study, having a real life problem being discussed and finding different solutions. There may not be a right answer for a solution, but how do you discuss a real life problem on a solution? How do you give a P&L to a group of students and ask them to analyze and give them some scenarios why the company is not working well? And what do you need to come out of that as part of your accountancy course, for an example, or if it is a computer class, how do you give them a little bit more real life solutions into the system, right? So I think the only way we can upskill them is bringing them close to the marketplace, bringing them as close to the marketplace. So in GSK, when I was referring to my career, I said in 16 years in GSK, I did 8 roles, and at that 8 role is like an average span of 2 years. Now, one thing when I join a role in GSK is I need to do something called Gemba. Okay, so Gemba is a Japanese word. It is like, it means you need to work in the market. You go to the place where the market is. So, for example, I need to go with a medical rep. In India, when I came, I spent 10 days with the medical rep. I went and met the distributor. I went as close as the marketplace is to understand what the market is and what are the challenges the junior level employees has, what are the challenges our customers has, and how do we sell our products. So getting to that Gemba, getting close to the market, I think our education system and our courses are perhaps a little bit distant from the real marketplace those times. Now, I don't know how much it has evolved these days, how many times you have industry veterans coming and speaking to you, how many times you get opportunity to visit some of these companies, how many times you're close to analyzing, for example, a real life problem which you see in the newspaper, like the Byju's, or like the compliance problems in the companies, or there are a lot of issues you see in the stock market if you're following those. So how do you see that? How do you develop your thinking? How do you bring them close to the marketplace, which they're going to go after the graduation. I think that's one way you can upskill our team, particularly the commerce and BBA graduates. Technical, it may be a little bit more technical, maybe getting into these days this artificial intelligence and lots of stuff, how it is going to shape their career, and may need a little bit more insights from the industry veterans on what do they see as the challenges and what do the kids needs to adapt these days before they get into the streets of corporate job and managing the show.
Thank you, Juby. We have Nitin John who raised his hand. Nitin, would you like to?
Hey, hi Juby, hi Abu. It was great listening to you. So it was quite insightful. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, very loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Yeah, thank you. So it was quite an insightful, insight that you had given to, people like us and even the, as you said, the students. Now, I think, just taking from the cue from the discussion that you said right now about artificial intelligence, and probably the students who are stepping into into their first jobs, what would be the challenges AI would be bringing in, and how should they be prepared? Probably say 20 years down the line. I've been in this sales for almost 14 years, and after my completion of my post graduation, and now when I stand in my in say 15th year of my career, the kind of changes that has happened, and the kind of the data, the importance of data analysis, and the kind of preparations therefore that we do in sales has been immensely different. So with the advent of and the way AI is penetrating into every sphere of businesses, how do you see it as a challenge for the students who are right now going to get into their first job, and how should they be prepared to do that? What should they prepare themselves with? How do you see this scenario coming up? Is my question.
Yeah, I think I would say more than a challenge, isn't it a big opportunity for the students? So I think we see it as a challenge because we're thinking from a frame of we're doing something now and that's going to change, and we have no more jobs or no more kind of activities to do based on that current situation. But when the artificial intelligence comes, it's going to be a massive opportunity for a lot of students, particularly to shape this artificial intelligence background things and all those things. So machine is not going to do anything unless there is a lot of work being done behind. It could as well be the development of the ecosystem that is needed. It could be the hardware that is going to be needed. It's going to be the software that's going to be needed. Then again, to write the right algorithms, right, how do you interpret the data? The quality of the data which we will be getting is much more different. So I'll tell you a live example. Okay, so when I started my chartered accountancy, 20 years back, we used to file all the returns, all the tax, exposure with the tax department using papers. So somebody used to write everything, right from the returns to all the filings you do in the tax departments with paper. Now, those times, the tax officers used to work in a particular set of way. They go through the papers, they gives you some challenges back, you reply back. Times have evolved. There's a time when you started filing everything electronically. So there is a lot of data, but data itself is of no use because those officers who are sitting at their jobs, they are not able to interpret any data. So they have a lot of data with them and they were not able to interpret any data. Now, for those who are following this whole tax episodes, Infosys has installed a lot of back-end work in the tax department, Government of India's tax department. Now, the tax department has got a fantastic back-end solution with lots of data in the system. So anything, all the GST, import, output, all the things, all the data the tax department has in the back-end. Now, the tax officers whom I met, there are two sets of tax officers. One are the old generation. They really don't know how to use this data. But the new generation IRS officers who comes to a company whom I interact with, they really not know how to interpret all this data using the tools and technologies. They know how to leverage artificial intelligence into the system. They know how to track the right outliers and get into that outliers and ask the right questions. So the quality of the data, the quality of the insights will be getting changed. Now that will be impacting each and every sphere of the business, whether it is in the sales function. You'll clearly get better insights to react to your customers. Whether it is a manufacturing function, you will get much better insights on the supply chain turnarounds, inventory levels, the purchase patterns, the wastages, everything. So the insights, the quality of insights will be much, much better. Now, it's going to be a fantastic opportunity than a challenge, provided we upskill ourselves, we learn this change and all those things. So, I was just referring that I was with a seminar which Microsoft was doing on artificial intelligence. So I seen a tool which Microsoft, what they're going to do is, let's say if you put a 500 slide deck into that tool of artificial intelligence, and you say that I want a 3 or 4 page summary of that 500 slide deck, PowerPoint slide deck, the Microsoft tool will throw a very good summary. Okay, it's not a junk summary, it's a very good summary. And to develop that kind of a good summary in let's say in less than 3 minutes or 5 minutes, that's something going to be a life-changing for many corporates. Okay, so the time we spend on many non-value added activities will change, and the insights will go up. And I think it's going to be a big opportunity, and our lives will be much better if it is going to be in the right space. Now, it's still, the outputs are not clear. There are pessimists saying we are overreading artificial intelligence, but I can clearly see the artificial intelligence taking shape in medical field, particularly all these scannings of cancers and all those things. Nowadays, if you go for a scanning, the radiologist might take, let's say, 2 or 3 days to get the results out. But once all this artificial intelligence and machine learning gets into the system, it's already live in many hospitals. The markers, the mark on the cancer markers and all those things, it's just a breeze. It's just going to be in 2 minutes or 3 minutes. So the insights, the quality of the insights is what you're going to get out of this artificial intelligence. This is going to be a huge opportunity for the working professionals. So you get to do more with the less time, and the life is going to change if it is applied in the right sense. So I'm clearly not seeing it as a challenge. I'm seeing it as an opportunity to save our time and get to the next level of delivery.
Juby, I can see a couple of hands being raised and one question in the chat, so I'll take them in order. So Shweta Lakshmi,
sure.
Shweta, you can go ahead. Shweta?
Hello, good evening,
Yes.
sir. Sir, I'm Shweta Lakshmi, and my question is, sir, in 1998, you were the BBA first rank holder. How did you manage your time back then? What were the things you focused on? And in 2023, what do you think that students should focus on?
Yeah, no, that's right. I was the first rank holder from the university, and I had, it was not so complicated. I didn't manage my time so complicated way. I was trying to focus on most of the important things that has to be done on time. So obviously I had a timetable. Even now I have a timetable. So, but more than that, I was basically trying to enjoy what I was doing. I was enjoying my study days. So it was not like a rigorous exercise I was following. I was trying to read pretty much basics I was doing. I was having a timetable. I was taking some notes. I used to revise my stuff as well. I enjoy reading, so that's all I did. It's nothing nothing big I have done to get that rank, but the output was a rank. That's a different thing. But the input was fairly basics. Okay, I was just getting brilliant at the basics of managing time and focusing on what matters or what are the right topics to be done then. Now, those times were very different. Okay, so those times were very different in the sense that our only window to the knowledge was few books. Okay, so if you have few additional books and if you have few good teachers, I think you are at a significantly higher competitive advantage for the people who doesn't have enough good books or enough good knowledge. Because remember, those times we didn't have internet. I guess internet started just right after we graduated from the college, 1999. There's nothing like you search in the internet and find something out. So yeah, so there was I think it was an inflection point on the time the world was changing into internet, and hence some of those things what I applied those times may not be relevant today. So today the information is not scarce. Everybody has got every information, and how do you interpret that? How do you apply that as become more relevant? So yeah, I think today's times, what I've done those times may not be relevant, but today's times, what may be relevant is instead of just focusing on getting first rank or first in the class or first in the university, perhaps get the basics right, basic knowledge right, get your fundamentals right, and of course develop a bit more broader personality and skill sets, right from communication, stakeholder management, and behavioral aspects on how to react in different situations, and those might be more helpful. I'm not saying studies are not important. What I'm trying to say is the delta between two students may not be that different versus then and now. So perhaps everybody is scoring, let's say 85 to 90. I don't know how to differentiate. The marks are not going to be the differentiator these days. It's your skill sets, passion, as well as the overall personality might be a bit more differentiated than the marks, provided everybody is at the same level of marks. So yeah, I don't know I answered you rightly, but these are my thoughts around that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we have one more from Krishna Priya. Krishna Priya, I have your question on the chat, but would you like to come online and ask the question to Juby? Krishna Priya?
Yes, sir.
Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, we can hear you.
Sir, can you please share the job positions in which you had worked to get to your current position of CFO in the company?
Yeah, sure. I think it's already in the LinkedIn, but what I've done is I started as assistant finance manager in a local company. Then what happened is I told like I didn't like the role. Then I moved as a financial analyst, a junior analyst into Philip Morris. Then from there I did 2-3 more roles, including a supervisory role. Then I came to GSK as finance manager. Then I became finance director for the Middle East. Then I moved to Istanbul as finance director. Then I moved to Vietnam as finance director. In Vietnam, I spent 3 years as finance director and 1 year managing the business. I was general manager for the business. And then I came to Singapore. I was managing the whole Asia. I was the regional finance director for Asia. Then back here in India as CFO. That's a short summary.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
We have Shipra. Shipra, would you like to go ahead?
Good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Sir, I'm Shipra Pillai, MBA student. So I have a question like, how do you see the current job market for MBA graduates and what trends do you anticipate it in the future?
Yeah, I think MBA is a wide territory for people to get into the job, right? So now, in my company, from my experience, what I can say that is the people coming, most of the MBA graduates, they're coming into two spheres. One is in finance. Again, most of the people who come here are from IMs. The IM people who comes here are mainly for marketing. So there's a large number of people who comes here every year, join a company from IMs for doing marketing jobs. Marketing is again a very interesting career path for MBA graduates, particularly managing brands, shaping strategies for the brand, helping to create values for the company. Marketing career also opens up you to start your own companies, because at the end of the day, a good brand manager or a good marketing manager is a mini managing director or mini managing general manager for that business. So clearly, I think marketing career is one area if you get into good companies. Other is investment banking. Finance itself is a very interesting sector, huge opportunities, whether it is in investment banking, whether it is in corporate, whether it is in consulting. Finance is the bedrock of many business. So if you have to take a finance career, you have a lot more opportunities than 10 years back or 15 years back, where the career opportunities were limited into traditional finance. Now people get into investment banking, people get into trading, people get into treasury management. So there is a huge lot of domain in that. Last but not the least, technical roles also people get post MBAs. But I'm pretty sure there might be, people might be more successful getting into marketing as well as finance careers, and also HR careers. HR careers, particularly, people are very limited. They're passionate about HR, and some people get into there. But otherwise, I think it's pretty marketing as well as finance careers makes more sense.
Thank you, sir.
Juby, I have one more question in the chat. This question is from Ashwin Saji. So what he is asking is, can you please share some insights in the skills or qualities you believe are crucial for the success in the field of finance?
So finance is a very deep subject matter, subject which, you know, we need to understand many things. Now, depending upon what domain you work in finance, everything changes. But fundamentally, technical knowledge is important. What is finance? How do you read the P&L? How do you construct a balance sheet? What are the things you need to look into the balance sheet? So that part, broadly, the technical aspects of the finance. But more so important, finance is more general. So you need to have views of different companies. You need to be updated on the finance news. You need to update on the new things emerging in finance. For example, behavioral finance. It's a new theme which is emerging in finance, and there's a lot to learn in that finance. So my 10 cents on this one is it's very difficult to get expert in everything. As you get into your interested area in finance, whether it is investment banking, whether it is a corporate finance, whether it is a banking, normal banking, whether it is a stock market, or even it's finance education, get deep into those spaces. But the basics of all these things is keep yourself updated on the knowledge and the news around you. Finance has got a lot of finance magazines and news channels around, so might have to keep updated ahead of the curve, but then getting into a little bit more deep into the domain you're working in finance, that might be a better strategy then.
I have a question.
And just to add one more thing. For example, I work with, as part of my role, I work with mutual fund houses. Okay, so there are brilliant finance managers managing fund houses. I met many people. Now, do they know enough of compliance, risk management, tax, perhaps they don't know, but they know really well how to select good companies, how to manage the fund, what are the right questions to ask to their, invested companies. So that's what I said, like you go deep into that space where you work, but then you need to have a generic knowledge around the things, what's happening. So where you work in finance matters a lot. So in that particular space, you work, go deep, but then keep updated yourself on different developments that's happening around the world. Go ahead, Tingle.
Yeah. So out of the 3 important soft skills you mentioned, so communication or managing people and the strategic thinking, I wish to ask on the strategic thinking and value addition. So, can you share from your personal experience how you train yourself in that level of thinking and value addition, and your experience in contributing value in your positions?
Yeah, I think it's a bit deep question, Twinkle, and this perhaps is the most difficult of those 2-3 skills which I articulated. Now, why it's very difficult is if you have to think strategically, you need to know the business well, right? So if you don't know enough of the business, or if you don't know enough of your space, it's you have some limitations in thinking strategically. So you need to endure a little bit in your role, so you'll get to know about your business. Then you can think strategically. But one of my mentor, when I asked a similar question, he was saying me is one way you can develop your strategic thinking is ask as many questions as you can. And when you ask many questions, basically you're thinking. So how do you make yourself, perhaps let's say in a live setting, you're going into a meeting to discuss a project. Now, there are different ways you can approach. So there's somebody who's going to come and present to you many things, and then you ask some questions. But if you get prepared yourself on some of the pre-reads that come, then on the go, if you ask so many questions, basically it's like you throw 5 questions and maybe 2 or 3 will get eventually counted as a value-added questions in the meeting. So yeah, so strategic thinking is a muscle you need to develop over time. It's not something which you can quickly anybody can get there unless someone is very gifted. So I think the only way to that is ask many questions, observe the senior leaders, how they work in your company, because I see that people, if you ask many people who work in a company, what is your company's strategic intent? What are the 5 strategies the company has? I think many people may not be having the right answer. So I think that's what I meant, like in the town halls or in the common meetings. What is the leaders talking about? The strategy aspect of the business, and trying to understand that, framing your own questions based on that. I guess it's a journey you might have to take it through, but fundamentally asking as many questions in your mind or taking out, and that will lead you to a better strategic thinker.
Yeah, thank you. During your presentation, you talked about the BBA degree specifically, and you have mentioned that it would be better to have case studies added and better to have the students discuss around that. I think education has evolved over the years. Maybe after completing our degree, I have completed 1999, 2002. After 2-3 years, I think the BBA department, the university, they introduced a project as part of the curriculum. And now in 2024, from the 3-year course, now they are changing to a 4-year course, and they are in the process of updating the curriculum. So do you have any special suggestions for the topics to be added to, especially for the BBA degree, or some kind of an exercise which can definitely enhance the value of BBA specifically?
Yeah, I think again, it's very interesting question, because I don't know how far the college can decide the syllabus. I know it's autonomous, but to a certain extent, I'm assuming there are certain guardrails in which they operate to design the syllabus. But my sense here is instead of we reinventing the wheel, how do we see that the best in class universities around the world, what do they have in their curriculum, right? So, but again, back to the comment which I made, whatever they have in the curriculum, we can define that, but how do you implement that in the real setting? So, for example, if you have an organizational development topic in our syllabus, and we could see that the same syllabus is there in let's say a top tier university in the US. Now we can implement the same syllabus here, but how do you implement that to a larger extent is a big question mark. Now, I think the trick to that is how do you get close to the market? How do you bring more industry interactions in the market? How do you encourage students to talk to more people in the industry? How do you bring real life examples into the college discussion? I'm pretty sure it has evolved over a lot of time, but I don't know to what extent it has evolved. That's what something which I might have to learn myself on. But when I see the students coming for interviews from many institutes, I'm not from talking about Marian College, from many other institutes, I could clearly see there's a gap in the thinking from a practical experience. What do they think about a company or an exposure they are going to get a company? And we need to retrain them quite a lot in the company. So I think the answer to that question, basically, I would simply say we might have to have a little bit more industry interaction to define our curriculum. We might have to compare and benchmark our curriculum with some top tier universities. Then we might have to have some industry level interactions. And as well, I don't know, the college is taking feedback from the students who've been placed in the past 4 or 5 campus selections. What's the feedback they're getting? And maybe that might be again a way to start how the industry is thinking about our output of our college, and what are the feedbacks they have, who comes regularly to the campus to place the students, is there any feedbacks they have, how are they seeing our students? So we might need to get a certain level of feedback mechanism also, and get into a course which is giving a bit more all-round development than just curriculum alone. So it's going to be a long journey. We might get it right or wrong, but the trick to that is we might have to keep on correcting as we do this in the journey.
Juby, Joshi sir here.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Just to update about what's happening in connection with the curriculum updation to ensure the 4-year degree program which is starting from next year onwards. So from 2016 onwards, the teaching learning process has changed since we became autonomous. We have from that point onwards we are following the outcome-based education, where we are trying to bring down the distance between academy and industry. So we are giving internships in every year, and a project is there where students gets associated with organizations, and they go there and stay for 1 month and they complete their project. And of course, making every effort to ensure that experts from industry as well as academia visit our classrooms and interact with our students. And in the process of making the syllabus, crafting the syllabus, we are collecting feedback from all the stakeholders, including parents, alumni, industry experts, and academy experts. So definitely we will be contacting you from that point of view, and that's a process which we are taking place in the development of curriculum for the next year 2024, where we are going transforming the undergraduate program to a 4-year undergraduate program rather than a 3-year undergraduate program. So every effort is being made, and in very soon, definitely will be approaching you also to get insights from your side And one specific question, since you belong to Glaxo, what's the integrated marketing communication process you have? Because I think, I believe that your sales or your
Sorry, your voice is breaking. Your voice is breaking. Can you repeat?
Your integrated marketing communication process. How do you promote your products? Because your marketing mechanism or your revenue is to an extent related or is being promoted by the prescription of medical practitioners also. So how do you manage that part?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that question. I think the way pharma companies particularly work, particularly multinational pharma companies work, is it's a prescription-based business. At the end of the day, the customer is a patient, but the patient is getting the product from the doctor. So the doctor has to be knowing about the product, and the doctor has to prescribe to the patient who needs it, right? So that's how the whole chain works. Now, the marketing is more to the doctor, because at the end of the day, the doctor is going to take the decision to give that medicine to the patient or not. Now, what we do actually is we have obviously a medical rep going and meeting the doctor. The medical rep might share some of the medical knowledge of the product and which are the indications this product is going to be promoted, and all those kind of things will be shared. But more importantly, we kind of give medical knowledge in terms of webinars, in terms of various other touch points, right from Facebook till Twitter till integrated way we will be reaching out to the doctor. So it's more a science-based selling. So we will be selling our products on a science-based way, giving medical information to the doctor to prescribe the right product to the right patients, and targeting the doctors and the customers who have such patients in their go. So it's a prescription-based business, but the marketing is more focused on the doctors, improving the knowledge of the doctors about the product and sharing with them how to prescribe the products at the right situations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do we have any more questions from anyone? Okay, it looks like we don't have any more questions. Okay, in that case, I think we can conclude the QA session.
Thank you, Abu. It was very interesting. I think lots of questions came, and it was really inspiring to see students asking so many questions. And yeah, it was very good.
Thank you, Juby, and let me hand over to Karen again. Karen, over to you.
So we have come to the end of the event. It's time to express our gratitude. Our closing words will be delivered by Ms. Gayatri Anil Kumar on behalf of the Marian College. Let's give her a warm welcome for delivering the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. And my duty here is to express the gratitude of today's event. First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our chief guest, Mr. Juby Chandy, who is the whole-time director and CFO of GSK India. It was a really informational and a motivational class. Thank you, sir, for spending your valuable time with us. Next, I express my gratitude to our HOD, Dr. Joshi John, who introduced our chief guest. And I thank Mr. Abu Surendran, who initiated to invite Mr. Juby Chandy and coordinated the Q&A session. I express my special thanks to the Marian Alumni Association for initiating this career talk, and express the gratitude to Advocate Nelson Joseph, the President of Marian Alumni Association, and Mr. Twinkle Abraham, the Director, Career and Professional Development Wing, Mr. Justin Jacobs, Deputy Director, Knowledge Team. And I also express my thanks to the Reverend Dr. Joy Abraham P., the former principal of Marian College, whose presence littered the section. Thank you, Father. I also thank our principal, Professor Dr. Ajimon Joe, who always stand with us for organizing an event, and the Marian Management Association and teachers who put the effort to make this section a great success. I also thank Nido Mary Kunteri of Base, who was a part of Marian from 2016 to 2019 for the prayer song, and Karen Reaper of 2nd BBA for hosting this event, and last but not the least, all the Marian family of Marian College Kutikanam and Marian Institute of Management to make this event a great success. Thank you all.
Thank you, Gayatri, for your heartfelt vote of thanks. And with that, we have successfully completed the first session of Alumni Career Talk series. I would like to thank everyone, the dignitaries and the participants for your active indulgence. Thank you, everyone.